Hello and welcome everyone, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elma Mubarak and I head the education program, education programming and outreach here at the Abrahamic Family House. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to our inaugural discussion for 2024. This series is designed to engage all of you, all of our beloved community members, with topics at the forefront of global discourse. And this year, our focus will be on the intersection between faith with technology and faith and art. Now, today we'll be joined by our moderator, Professor Mahnaz Yousefzadeh, Research and Publication Senior Manager at the Abrahamic Family House, along with Father Stefano Luca, our resident priest at the St. Francis Church here at the Abrahamic Family House. And without further ado, I will hand over to our lovely moderator, Mahnaz. Thank you.
Please, thank you. Thank you. Hello, do you hear me? Yes? Hi. Okay. Do you hear me? Yes. Welcome to our Fireside chat, and thank you very much, Alma, for creating this platform for us to be sitting here. These Fireside chats, there's no fireside here, but they're meant to be an intimate and direct and personal exchange between our distinguished guests and speakers and the community. They take place, they're set in the forum of Abrahamic Family House, where these kind of direct and personal exchanges are happening in what is meant to be a space where we, in fact, leave our private worlds and come together to exchange ideas in a kind of a shared common space of discussion. So in that way, it's a very interesting setting. And it's the discussion today and with Father Stefano Luca and about his most recent book, The Theology of Difference, is apt and welcome occasion to kickstart or to have this fireside chat here. Because the topic itself, Theology of Difference, as we will hear in a minute after I introduce Father Stefano, is really about, the topic itself is about the role of religion in public life, which is really the role of this space that we have here, as well as what we call the interfaith or interreligious dialogue. That is something that Father Stefano has been writing about and thinking about and doing work for a long time. So he is the chief religious leader and the pastor of the St. Francis Church here in Abrahamic Family House. And if I may give a short bio, your biography is long, but Father Stefano began his doctorate. He achieved his doctorate from the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome with a thesis on interreligious dialogue, as well as a degree in Arabic and Islamic studies from the Pontifical Institute for Arabic and Islamic Studies of Rome. He's a researcher at the University Platform for Research in Islam in Europe and Lebanon, Pluriel, and a fellow at CAICID, the International Fellow Program. Prior to his assignment to the Gulf region as a director of the Ecumenical and Interreligious Dialogue in the Office of Apostolic Vicariate of Southern Arabia, he served for 5 years as a consultor for interreligious dialogue with Muslims at the Italian Episcopal Conference. His university experience as a professor in the Laurentianum University in Venice, teaching interreligious dialogue, missionology, and social theater. He is the founder and co-director of the Franciscan Social Theater, empowering human fraternity through the arts, promoting human fraternity across the globe. which is the subject of his first book. He is a prolific writer. I'm not going to go through the titles of his 4 books and numerous articles. We will be discussing his latest book that came out in January. And the next book will be out in September, and it's also on the interreligious dialogue. And if you wish, you can talk about it really at some point at the end, what it will be about. So it's strange to be welcoming you because this is your home. This is your home space, Father Stefano. Let's begin with the intriguing title, Theology of Difference, the title of the book, which is in Italian. And we are lucky, actually, it's not been translated into English or Arabic, and it addresses a scholarly audience. So on this occasion, I'll ask some questions for us to have a chance for you to bring these topics to a general audience and into a common space here. So can you tell us what's the meaning of this theology of difference, if we can begin maybe with that, with difference or the theology?
But first of all, thank you. Thank you to you all for being here. Thank you for inviting me and share this journey through Theology of Difference. For many, many years, as interreligious dialogue field, we tried our best to focus on similarities, that it's super beautiful. It's interesting, it's important, it's very beautiful. But I personally think that now is the time to being able to recognize differences among us, to be mature and say, okay, let's stand together. We are together, yes, but we are different. And so Theology of Difference is a interpretation of these differences as element of grace, as element of beauty. Actually, I love the expression, the beauty of difference. No? So that's what I try to address and to develop in my research, in my book. So how difference is something beautiful, a grace, an element of grace in daily life also, in order to discover more about yourself and of course also about the other. There is a beautiful expression that Pope Francis said. I have it because I prepared something. Pope Francis, in order to talk about differences, he spoke and he brings this very beautiful concept of the polyedron. What is polyedron? Is that figure there? Is one of the example of what can be a polyedron, no? It's not just simple a sphere, but is that element with numerous faces, very different between themselves, right? But they all together in order to stand together and be that kind of object. So Pope Francis says, life is the art of encounter. Already here is beautiful because the art of encounter. And he says, this means working to create a many-faced polyedron whose different sides form a variegated unity in which the whole is greater than the part. That's very important. The whole is greater than the part. So, and after he continues, of course, he says, the image of a polyedron can represent a society where differences coexist, complementing, enriching, and reciprocally illuminating one another. That's beautiful. And here in Abrahamic Family House, I think is really fitting. Even amid disagreements and reservations. So amid this, each of us can learn something from others. I think this sum up very well what I'm trying to develop with this idea of theology of difference. And
Thank you.
You know what? The other day I was scrolling my phone, like looking in YouTube, something like this, and I found a beautiful short speech I don't know if you're familiar. He's a very famous orchestra director. His name is Muti, Maestro Muti. Anyway, doesn't matter. And he was addressing different things, and after says, in my orchestra, I have different instruments, of course. Every different instruments play different notes, actually, in the correct terminology, different phrases. But all of them, they serve a bigger goal. That is harmony.
Yes.
That is harmony. And this is what the whole is greater than the part. This is what the polyhedron is about. So I really loved that expression. So that's why it was by chance. I was just scrolling, and Riccardo Muti says this. Yeah.
And I love what you just ended with, the harmony of differences. Harmony of differences. You're evoking two examples. One from geometry. Is it geometry?
Yeah.
And one from music. And how did you arrive? And when you've written a book about this notion of the harmony and differences, and how do you actually go about the foundations, right? Is it historical? But because you say it's a theology of differences, and I could have said, what is the science of difference? What is the art of difference? What is the biology of difference? We could have done, but it's a theology of difference. And do you have any religious foundations or biblical foundations and that you might want to talk about?
Definitely.
About this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For me, as you said, I could have addressed it in different way. But of course, my field as a theologian is, of course, it goes in the root of the Bible text, of course, as Christian. So I'm talking about the Bible text. There are plenty of examples. I would just mention maybe something. Actually, the book of Genesis, let's take the book of Genesis, because it's quite interesting.
The book of creation.
Yeah, exactly. That is the first book inside the Christian Bible. Okay. So the Genesis, for example, chapter 1, 2, let's say chapter 2 is when God, create also Eve and put Eve in front of Adam. Actually, the original text, Hebrew text, says Ezer Kenegdo. That is literally we can translate like one against the other. Against, not in terms of fighting, of course, against to give more the meaningful power, saying that they are really one in front of the other, facing each other, because Adam was seeking someone that was able to correspond him. Correspond meaning was able to respond to him. So to interact, to encounter, to have a dialogue in a, equal way.
Yeah.
So finally, when Eve was there, one Ezer Kenegdo, one in front of the other, face to face, finally Adam was able to talk. He says, now, yes, this is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. And the text goes on and says, they were both naked and they felt no shame. So what it means, this is what I traced inside. So they were both naked and they felt no shame. Both naked means they were able to share their own differences, and they were able to welcome each other's differences. That's why they were both naked. Here I am. I'm like this, without feel ashamed, completely. That's why, now comes the interesting part. That's why once the original sin, we call like this in our Christian theology, so the original sin came, what it was really broken was this balance, this beauty of accepting, welcoming the different of the other. In fact, they should with palms, with something, they cover themselves and they hid them from God because they were ashamed. So they open up their own eyes saying, I'm not able to welcome your difference anymore. That's it. So they got scared about this. So they were not able to welcome, to host, to do an hospitality of their own reciprocally difference, for example. This is just an example of Genesis, Adam and Eve, but we can definitely, if I can say other examples, I can.
It would be great to have a an example from when we actually do become human. After we leave the Garden of Eden, and become mortal, and when we become,
absolutely,
limited, and when we become who we are,
okay. Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, because after, definitely. So also in Cain and Abel, huge example also this. But let's go forward. So for example, after Cain killed Abel, okay, so God says, let's give another chance to humanity. Because I don't know if you are familiar or you remember with the Bible text, of course, the narration in the Bible. Cain killed Abel, okay, because it was out of jealousy. Both of them, they brought some gift to God, okay, some holocaust. God preferred the one of Abel. So Cain, who was a farmer, killed the shepherd that was Abel. Why? Because out of jealousy. Was not able to take the difference. And was very interesting. It's very interesting, the text, because it says, after that, God went to talk with Cain and asked him, where is your brother? Where is your brother? And the reply was, am I my brother keeper? So it's interesting, because here it is linked that keep custody of your brother has something to do with keep the difference alive. Not rejected that, not go to jealousy, but keep difference alive is the custody between us. Very interesting, very powerful. So to preserve differences and welcome them, of course. So after this happened, the first killing in history for us, of course, so God says, okay, you know what, let's try to restart again and give the grace of the flood with Noah. I'm just, of course, going quickly, around the text. But he gives this grace of the flood in order to restart, a new chance for humanity, in order to restart fresh. And what happened there? After, the land was already there, so Noah start again with all the huge ark, of course, as we probably know. And God gives 3 main differences upon which the humanity can restart fresh, a new possibility, a new history of their own life, of our life. And these 3 differences were actually the genealogy, the tongue, the languages, and the land.
Genealogy, land and
language. Tongues, language.
No, this is very interesting. So you're saying that, in fact, at this point, at this second creation, at this moment, difference is actually given as a grace, as a gift, as a gift of God, right? Rather than as a limitation, rather than as a let me say it negative, rather than as a problem, is actually a gift.
Absolutely.
That is, can you can you say something about land? Actually, I don't know how many of you, how many of us actually know what is a gift of land. Can you say how is land
land in terms of also natural borders, for example.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, in terms of also natural borders. So actually, the 12 tribes of Israel, for example, so they were living in different parts of the land itself. But the fact that there were natural borders, mountains, sea, natural thing, the limitation is not a less, but it's a plus. It's the way to treasure a tradition, an identity, etc. So it's a chance, actually, to discover themselves as they supposed to be.
And this is very interesting, because in some legal traditions, actually, in constitutional law, actually the land or the division of land becomes the premise for law. The first law arises as this kind of the division of land, whether natural or actually human, right? There is land, and then you divide it. That is creating some sort of borders, right? Borders on land becomes the most kind of fundamental aspect of law, nomos, so that's in this way we're thinking it is division or difference is generative. Can we say that is generative, right? It is, at least
the
in
difference.
this case.
Yes, keep alive that difference. So that kind of difference based on natural borders, for example, in that occasion. Yes, it's very clear. For example, if we just go a little bit forward in the book of Genesis, always, for example, in the Babel Tower situation, the Babel Tower, I have a picture of this. Yes. So I don't know if you are familiar with this part of the Christian scripture, but basically, just to sum up, so the people wants to build a tower, okay, a big tower to reach God. Actually, to replace God, this is much better. Basically, to put all humanity under a big dominion. That was the plan, to bring all humanity under one dominion. That means, once again, to eliminate differences. Because one big dominion, to eliminate differences. And why? Because they want to crush humanity under only one tower. That is the result, of course, of human hands, not godly one. That is why God, right after, scattered people, giving them different idioms, language, once again, different tongues, once again, comes back. But not, sometimes we think, so he scattered humanity in different tongues, so he doesn't want communication between them. No. It's exactly the opposite. On the contrary, he gives different tongues to re-establish difference as a possibility of welcoming the others and not dominate the others, as the Babel Tower wanted to realize, a domination. No. Different tongues as a chance to discover the other. That's why this is interesting. I put the other image. So left side is one of the many raffiguration of this biblical text. Right side is another one. It's quite interesting because it's split it into two. So left side, you'll see the Babel Tower. All is gray, no? And you see all these figures, all the same color, without difference, that they try to, escalate and reach the top of the Babel Tower, left side of the second picture there. And the other side, the other half, actually a little bit more than half, you have very colorful image, right? That is what we call, in a theological language, in a Christian theological language, the anti-Babel situation. Is actually it's a passage from the Act of Apostles, chapter 2, when it says that God and so the Holy Spirit brings the possibility of different people to speak different languages, but to understand each other. So different languages, but to communicate. So that's very beautiful. Actually, I love that picture. It gives this opportunity.
You know what I if I may, what I hear, if I can push it a little bit more, is that not only the chance that the different languages and kind of the difficulty in understanding or the separation, right, in some way, allows for the possibility of desire. That is, you don't know, you can't understand, and not understanding doesn't feel good, because you want to understand. Like it produces actually the desire to want to understand the other. If it was so easy that we all spoke the same language and it was all completely transparent and understood, there would be no kind of the desire, the lack, the loss, I don't know, the separation. The separation is necessary for the desire to want to know. If the not knowing, it's
absolutely, it's nice. Yes, like the nostalgia. We can say the nostalgia of stars means the nostalgia of God somehow, but the nostalgia of that. Yes, it's true too. To give more chance to. Yes, it's beautiful.
This is very Greek. This is Plato. Actually, he has this the original souls that are attached, and then they are separated, and now they're separated, and the desire to come together. I don't know.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I would say, to sum up, just to say, so Genesis for example, along many examples that we can do from the Christian Bible, for example, as this very concept.
Yeah.
When humankind lose the element of difference, lose also the correct relationship among them and with God.
With God.
And with God, yes. Once they cut out difference, as in these few examples I just pointed out, but if you really go through the Bible, there are Deuteronomy, Leviticus, a lot. If you go to the New Testament, the element, the category of stranger, for example, stranger.
Yes.
It's a huge category. But basically, if you want really to sum up, I would say this, that once humanity tried to cut out, to lose difference, they lose the beauty of that relationship among themselves, among humanity, and so also with God. So I would say this. So this is something huge.
Yes.
Meaning that difference is a very important element. Very important. It's an occasion for a good, for us all.
Can you say something about what you seem to be saying something about this relation with a stranger? It's a relation with a stranger is usually the relation of something that you talk about in your book, that the example of Abraham.
Oh, yeah.
The example,
definitely.
since we're in the Abrahamic family house, the example, and he is what you call the
hospitality.
Hospitality of difference. And maybe this, since hospitality is relationship with the stranger also, right? Is maybe can you give some examples from Abraham that might? Absolutely. That for me also it would be interesting because that part of relationship with God is not very clear to me. If you can speak a little bit more about that.
Thank you. Yes, it's beautiful also because, as you said, Abrahamic family house, so it's fitting perfectly. It's beautiful. So we are in Genesis according to the Christian text. Once again, this is the passage that in my book I analyze, and I try to profit from Abraham and try to identify some characteristics of what I call the hospitality of difference.
Yes.
So I'll trace here 5 elements, characteristics, based on the experience of Abraham, plus one. Plus one we'll see. So there is a 6th one. Anyway, so the text is this one. Now I also underlined the red one. So we're going to focus, of course, upon the red passages. Anyway, so basically, I don't know if you remember or you are familiar with, at a certain point, Abraham and Sarah, they are at their own tent, their own house, we can say, even if it was a tent. Okay, and they find themselves able to host 3 strangers. 3 strangers, okay? And the text goes, as you can read, the Lord appeared to Abraham near the great tree of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. So this is the first element of the hospitality of difference. Why? Because it means that Abraham is the one who keeps the door of his house open. The door of his house means the door of his heart open. He was already there at the entrance of his tent waiting for someone. So the first characteristic, the first element is keeping the door of your heart, your house, of your tent open. Yeah. The second characteristic that I traced from this text, as you can see, is the other red passage. So what he did once he saw these 3 strangers, he hurried. Because he wanted to meet them and bowed low to the ground. It is the text, huh? So the second characteristic, of course, is to give welcome. The ability to give actually welcome. To go, so not just to wait, but to go. To reach out, and show welcoming attitude. In his case, he bowed low to the ground, for example. This is the second characteristic, the ability to give welcome. The third one, let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed. That's beautiful. the third red part, no? Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed. And this is traced for us the third characteristic, because Abraham was the one who was able to see, identify, hear the need of the other. They were thirsty. They were hungry. So let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed. Notice the need of the other. This is another characteristic of the hospitality of difference. The fourth one, what he did, of course, went back to his tent, talked with Sarah, etc. So baked some bread, tender calf, and gave it curds, milk. He prepared, no? Basically, he gave back what he had. I'm using in purpose this expression, give back, giving back something. It's a very Franciscan, and sorry for that, but I'm a Franciscan friar, so I have to. This is our terminology somehow, but it's very interesting, and it's very part of the hospitality of difference, because giving back implies that are not yours the things that you have. Are not yours. You are simply giving back. Why? Because the things are the God's one, are from God. So they are not yours. You don't own things properly. So you are just giving to the other what is supposed already to be for them, because God already thought about them. So you are giving back. You're not giving. You are giving back. It's beautiful, according to me, of course. Anyway, the fourth characteristic is the ability to give back what Abraham has. The fifth one, this is the last one, is that at the end of the text, you'll see, while they ate, he stood near them under a tree. I have also a picture here of this. Let me see.
Who stood there?
So while they were eating, Abraham, here you have a picture, of course, it's not precise, it's just a way to portray this scene. You have Abraham and Sarah from the other side, and the three guests, the three strangers. So the fifth characteristic is this. Abraham and Sarah, they confine their own space. You see, that table is their own. They confine their own space to make room for the other. So this is the fifth characteristic of the hospitality of difference, according to the experience of Abraham in the Christian text, confine his own space to make room for the other. This is the fifth one. There is a sixth one, even if the text finished here. The fifth one actually is what I love the most, because I find myself, by experience, that is actually something that I don't know every day. I don't know you, after maybe we can ask also, but happen every time. Actually is the first line. The text starts, according to the Christian Bible, the Lord appeared to Abraham near the great tree of Mamre. So the Lord appeared to Abraham, meaning the sixth characteristic of the hospitality of difference is to recognize that the other happened to us. Something that happened to us. Yes. Yeah. It's the other that manifests itself. Yes. The Lord appeared. Yes. Not Abraham go and looking for. Yes. No, the Lord appeared. The other from us happened to us. Happened to us. Every day. Every day. The other happened to us. For me, it's fascinating. It's beautiful. This is the sixth characteristic, according to me. The other from us happens to us. But we can listen to them or not. We can welcome them or not. We can do an hospitality or difference or not. This is up to us, but still, the reality is that happens to us. Mm-hmm. They manifest themselves to us. It's beautiful. Beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it?
And the condition of it, though, is that condition of this to stand there by the door and be open, and to be open and to be not looking for it, but to be present and to notice, and not to be afraid of the stranger. That's really not to be afraid, but even be intrigued and to be interested. To be interested in those who are different from us. Right. We don't know.
Correct.
If I may.
That's why I would like to say that Abraham is like an icon of hospitality. He's the icon of hospitality, meaning is the most beautiful witness example, especially here. We are in Abraham family house, so it's very interesting. Even if, according to this is the Christian text once again, but still we have echoing also in the Quran, in the part that spoke about this very occasion. Different ways, once again, difference is there, but still there is a huge, beautiful literature, actually text and hadith, etc., about the hospitality.
Yes.
You know, so it's vast. But anyway, that's the icon.
Thank you. I want to bring it a little bit now, also still closer to home to you, is that since you're a Franciscan priest, and St. Francis has a special relation to Abraham Family House and to the document of human fraternity. And so if you can just give an example of, I mean, we've heard about example of Abraham. And if you can give an example from St. Francis, is there something special? I mean, since you are a Franciscan priest, and I assume, and you've written a book on the theology of difference, having some particular meaning for you, right? Because difference and diversity and questions of inclusion and these are very words that are used and they're current words, but you come from a very particular tradition, right? From being who you are, which is does St. Francis offer any perspective or guidance for you in this respect?
Thank you. Yeah. 100%. Actually, in the book, I analyze also a very important passage for all the Franciscan friars, so all the order that was generated by St. Francis of Assisi. But before going to that, because you just mentioned how important nowadays difference, diversity, inclusion, this kind of thing, gives me the chance to share with you one thing about to precise, maybe better to say, to precise one thing. I deliberately choose in my text, for example, and always when I talk, I speak always using the term difference and not diversity. Why? Because there is a huge difference. Or diversity. I don't know. Now we'll discover together. But no, aside joking, it's true. Because, diversity comes from, we have to go to the root of the word, no? So if we go to the Latin root, divertere means to diverge, going to different direction, right? Yes. That means that lead, if you are going that side and I'm going that side, meaning that I'm alone, individualist, lead to individualism, okay? Difference comes from the root of fero, fers, tulilatum ferre, the Latin root, that means to bring. So to bring, of course, different position, different gaze, different perspective, different whatever, but to bring towards the same horizon. Like the polyhedron that we saw before. Different faces, but they stand together because the whole is greater than the part. This is like the orchestra, the harmony. So you see, difference promote not individualism, but dialogue.
Yes.
But dialogue,
This is really, I know I'm going to let you talk about Francis, but I want to say, but this is really, I think this is, for me, this is a critical aspect of also the importance of the document of human fraternity, that the way it stands in the same line of treaties and documents of universal declarations of human rights, of human fraternity, but there's something about it that emphasizes relations and friendships and relations rather than individual rights. I mean, it's not explicit, but there is something about it that points to that. I don't know whether...
No, I agree with 100%. So thank you for mentioning this, because really I think it's something that strike me, and I truly believe that is important, because language is a treasure, no? It's a place where we can treasure important, meaningful thing, and actually they have an impact on our daily life.
Yeah.
So it's very important to wonder and try to go to the root of the words. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
San
St.
Francis,
Francis.
finally. San Francis, you're right. Sorry, I got lost, but it's so interesting. It's so important for me. Anyway, so San Francis, absolutely. So we have the Human Fraternity document.
Yes.
So we are in the house, here, Abrahamic Family House. Human Fraternity document was signed in 2019, right? 2019 by Pope Francis, of course, and the Grand Imam Tayyip.
Yeah.
Why 2019? Because was exactly the 800 years anniversary since the encounter. Let's remember, Pope Francis says the art of encounter.
Yeah.
Okay, the encounter between San Francis of Assisi and the Sultan of Egypt, Al-Malik al-Kamil, 1219 in Damietta of Egypt. So upon that very encounter, let's imagine and let's picture it out. We are in crusade time. A Christian guy without arms, anything. He just reached, that part of the world, and he saw massacres, blood everywhere. So he said, no, let me go and meet the Sultan. He managed to get there. The Sultan welcomed him. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
The Sultan exercised the hospitality of difference in a way, I don't know, amazing. So, and the San Francis and Brother Illuminato, because always 2 by 2, the friars, they go, both of them, they were hosts for several days. So that means that the two of them, they talk. They had a true dialogue, an encounter. They exercised the art of encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And in that dialogue, they respect the differences between themselves. Because in the book, I say there are different possibilities, theories, upon which San Francis went to reach out to the Sultan, to convert the Sultan, to sign a trace during that period, to find a way to have a paper in order to give the chance to the pilgrims to go to the Holy Land. Different possibilities. Still, we don't want to go inside the differences, the possibilities, sorry. Let's look at the matter of fact. He went there. He stayed some days. And he came back alive, escorted by the Muslims. No, I know, it looks like funny, but we think at that time means that something happened there between the two. A relationship of friendship was born. That very relationship of friendship is exactly what Pope Francis and the Grand Imam Tayyip, they want to replicate. So they establish between themselves, first of all, a relationship of friendship. Upon that relationship of friendship, the Human Fraternity document comes out.
Wonderful.
And they sign it. So that's why, of course, that's why San Francis Church is named after San Francis, because this is very important. But may I have a few seconds? May I just trace difference inside the life of San Francis? Why is so important, like Abraham?
I want to make sure that we get to. I want to make sure that we get also to the document of human fraternity, because you're speaking about it.
Okay.
And the elements of innovation and what is new about it.
I see.
Would be, but
Okay,
go ahead.
just a sentence, because I want to address your question. Sorry, because yes, the answer is yes. For us as Franciscan friars, so for San Francis and all the order, is pivotal.
Yeah.
The difference, because it's thanks to, like Abraham, it's thanks to the strangers that they visited him that he discovered that he was the icon of the hospitality of difference, of the hospitality. He discovered himself being able to host in that very beautiful way, thanks to the other that happened to him. In the same way, thanks to the Sultan of Egypt, Al-Malik al-Kamil, San Francis discovered the DNA of the Franciscan order. That is dialogue. So it's thanks to that encounter, it's thanks to the difference of the other, that he realized, wait a minute, God is asking me to build an order where the DNA, the root, the jidr, the root is dialogue. You see, so it's thanks to the other that he discovered more about himself.
Yes.
So that's why it's very important, the hospitality of difference for St. Francis.
No, this is, I want to stop here to say that how important it is what you're hearing in different contexts. And this is not only about interreligious dialogue, interfaith dialogue, but even I'm an academic, I'm at the university, and what has happened, let's say, in the last 200 years, where we have had divisions of the disciplines and specialization to a degree, to a level where it's very difficult for a specialist to even understand each other, for anybody to know what the specialists are talking about. So there is an emphasis now to bring people together into interdisciplinary studies. And what exactly that means is very difficult, right? Because there's always a danger of becoming subdisciplinary. That is, losing your, actually what makes your discipline. And I think what you really are, for me, it's significant what you're saying is that there is, it's very sensitive, it's very difficult. It's not just coming together and losing your differences, but maintaining and coming to the limit of what you know and what you don't know. Correct. Right? Or what you can say and who you are. And I think in some moments when we encounter others, we understand really our own discipline, our own craft, or our own identity.
Absolutely. That's it. Yes, because otherwise we tend to think, oh, we lose our identity. No, it's actually the opposite. We strengthen it. So together we strengthen it, because I realized for real, in a better way, who am I? It's beautiful. Sorry, but no, it's because it's very clear. This is the cover of my book, okay? This is the cover of my book. This is a beautiful sum up about the not losing our identity. We can see hands, the two hands, right? The orange one and the blue, green, I don't know, whatever the color is. Why? Because of the different color of the other part. If you were all orange, no two hands, right? So actually the difference of the other, so the different discipline, even in academic perspective, actually it shaped me in a more defined way. It helps me to understand me more. And of course, to strengthen bonds among disciplines in the academic perspective, for example. So once again, the whole is greater than the part.
Yes, and
we lose the big frame.
And this is what you mean by integration.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a strange word that I use in the book. Integral integration is exactly this. It's another way to say this. Absolutely. But actually it's also, if you look at the word hospitality.
Yes.
And we trace, once again, we go to the root, the Latin term hospice. Yes. Hospice. What it means, the root of hospitality, that is hospice, means in the same time, the one who is hosting another one, and in the same time means the one who is hosted by, who is the guest, yani. So in the same time means both. So hospitality is something related to reciprocity. That's a key word, reciprocity.
Yes.
That's why we cannot lose our identity. Actually, no, we can gift each other with our identity, and we can enrich each other by those differences and identities. So, but in a reciprocal way. Reciprocity.
And Father Stefano, it's really interesting to hear this perspective from a Franciscan, priest. And this is, there's a whole tradition of 20th century philosophers from Martin Buber and Levinas who has been talking about the fact that there is the I thou and the face of the other, and the relation to the other being constitutive of the self. This is what
absolutely. Buber, Levinas, yes.
So I want to bring it a little bit more concrete, where we are here in Abrahamic Family House, and you have written about the document of human fraternity, not only as a realization of the past, and we've been talking about some past, of some monumental figures from the past,
correct,
biblical figures. And is there something new or something innovative or something new in this document that is not just commemorating, let's say, not just commemorating the 800, let's say the encounter, if you want to say, or commemorating past events, or reminding us about past events, or just recovering past values. Is there something about it that is new?
There are at least 5 novelties in the Human Fraternity document. At least. First of all, we have to even frame it, because sometimes we tend to not really understand the purpose of the Human Fraternity document. First of all, we have to keep in mind that the Human Fraternity, the goal of this beautiful document is to exhort a paradigm shift in the consciousness of all the faithful. So it aims to help this shift. So we cannot pretend to find in the document all the theological answers to all our questions. Not at all, because it's full of beautiful themes. So we would like to, let's see how it answers about this theological problem. No. That one is a job up to us as researchers, scholars, etc. No?
Legal documents.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is just to from the outset, just to frame it a little bit better. 5 novelties. So we have to keep in mind that, for example, let's say the last 50 years, there have been written different shared documents, we can say, declarations. But this Human Fraternity document, this one is unique. Why? Because for the first time, the Pope, the Holy Father, and His Eminence, Sheikh from Al-Azhar, they sign a joint declaration. So it's not a letter, it's not a document that at the end, bottom line, the leaders, they just sign it. No. It's a joint declaration.
Why is that important?
Because in the last 50 years, 46 joint declaration was written in the globe. Joint declaration means together we write together.
Yes.
But at this level, the Pope, let's not call them by name, because the important is not Francis and Eminence At-Tayyib, is the role that they have. So that's why. So the Pope, for the first time ever, the Pope of the Catholic Church and His Eminence from the Al-Azhar, they wrote together.
You mean they tell the same story, the same
narratives.
The narrative is the same.
This is exactly. So the first novelties is a joint declaration at this level. It's the first time ever that happened. The second novelties is that they have the same narrative of values, the same narrative of values. So it's a common interpretation of the contemporary challenges. That's beautiful, huh? A common interpretation of the contemporary challenges. The other novelty is that the Human Fraternity document helps us to rediscover together that we are artisans of peace. Means that in the document there is the firm rejection and total denial of everything that leads us to hate, etc. The firm rejection is very clear. And this is sort of novelty because both together they wrote it.
Yes.
The fourth element of novelty, and this is very important, is the full valorization of the religion dimension. Because sometimes I heard a lot across the globe that try to play down this document, the religious value of this document. They reduce it like, a very high-level declaration of some humanitarian organization, for example, just saying. But actually, it's not like this. It's absolutely not like this. Pope Francis and Imam At-Tayyib are religious leaders who strongly repropose, that's a strength, repropose in the Human Fraternity document the role of religion in the contemporary society.
Yes.
That's a novelty. That's huge.
Yes.
In a world where they try to kick out as much as they can religion in the society, no. It's a huge, they say, no, we have a huge role to play. You know, it's a huge, like we celebrated COP28 last year, no, in Dubai. Mm-hmm. So for the first time ever, a pavilion of faith was there. So faith has a pivotal role in our daytime, in our daily life today, nowadays. And Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Eminence At-Tayyib, by written this document, they are saying, hey, the role of faith is for society. And the fifth novelty is once again language. Mm-hmm. It's unique. This is beautiful. The language of the Human Fraternity document, it's very peculiar. It's unique. It's transformative, if you want to say this word, because for real it is. In fact, if you read it at first, it's like, why they use this sentence? Why they build a sentence like this? Why? Because the language that they use meant to be an open up for both. In this case, a Muslim, when it reads this sentence, for example, he can hear the echo of some passage of the Quran, a hadith, other thing. So he can recall, he can understand from his own religion perspective exactly that sentence. The same very sentence read by a Christian guy, he's going to recall other thing, magisterium, the gospel, whatever.
Amazing.
And so the same sentence, the same language open up for both religion words, you know, so that's unique. That's a new language. That's a huge step forward. Huge.
So, and this question of language is very much related to the point that you made before about the ways in which that the document and they bring faith into civic, public, social life. And you can't just do that using the same old language, right? I mean, people have wanted to do that for a while, since at least for the last 200 years, since faith left was cast out of the social public life, at least in the West. Now, how to bring it in a way that is transformative, in a way that is new, in a way that we can bring it as a system of knowledge, as a epistemology, faith as an epistemology.
Yeah,
that was really cast aside as kind of irrational or not valid for some reason.
Yeah.
Is there a chance? And if you're going to entertain that, is there a chance? Is there a hope? Or is there a possibility? And why not to entertain this idea of how it can enter, into public life and civic life in a way that is innovative and generative and creative, as your in a way, can civic life be hospitable to faith? This is what we can say. Hospitable.
But there is look, I think we are the manifestation of this because we are in the cultural district, right?
Yes.
We are in the cultural district.
Yes.
So the fact that we are here means that we are promoting the culture of dialogue, the culture of coexistence, the culture of friendship, the culture of hospitality, of difference. So it's really a culture. Actually, in the Human Fraternity document, it is written. It says, تبني ثقافة الحوار بردا. يعني to promote the culture of dialogue as a path. It's interesting. So the very fact that Abrahamic Family House is in the middle of the cultural district means that the culture of dialogue has something more than something actually to give as a gift to promote for all humanity. I think that's why we are here.
Or I mean, that would be one way, or at the very least, that faith can become, can enter discourse and encounter other ways of knowing and other epistemologies here in the cultural district, whether it is science here or national history or art or contemporary art, then in fact it can engage and enter the civic world.
Absolutely.
I would like, thank you very much. I would like to open it up to discussion because it is a fireside chat, and it's supposed to. We can, if you can take questions, and if there are any questions, that we have some time.
Thank you both so much. Please, can I ask Father Stefano, how can we, as individuals, embrace the theology of difference to enrich our own daily lives?
It's a great question.
Absolutely, yes. Let's try to collect, because time is...
I want to add to that concrete examples, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there are some other questions, I just try to collect just to balance the time. Otherwise, I'll go for it.
Go. Wait, there's another question.
Okay. Maybe it's... Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to thank you, Professor Mahnaz, for your facilitation. I'd like to ask a question about the culture of dialogue in some settings, and I agree with you wholeheartedly around the importance of having open, critical debate and conversations. How do you handle situations where there are certain cultural sensitivities around handling these types of dialogues that might be a little bit more sensitive to have?
Father Stefano, why don't you begin? These are two important questions.
But regarding the concrete way to embody the theology of difference or integral integration, depends how we apply it. First of all, we're going to have after a beautiful workshop, so it's going to lead us also in this. But I would say it's something really that is a position of our heart. I mean, more we exercise the hospitality of difference, and we really keep in mind, can we stand? Do you mind? Let's stand. Try to put your one hand in front of you, right? One hand in front of you. And may I ask you, can you see all your hand? It's wrong. It's no, because you can see only one part, right? You have to turn it to see it, right? So the second question is, so how can I see the whole of my hand? Like Adam and Eve, I need my Ezer Kenegdo, the other one that becomes my mirror. And she gonna tell me what she sees, so the truth of myself, the other side, no? So I need the other to see more about myself, right? To see all my hand. So concretely, this little thing means that literally, if we exercise as every time we encounter someone, can be in the closest circle, family, can be friends, can be our faithful community, can be the different denominations inside our faithful community. We are migrants from all over in this country, so even culturally speaking differences, and also different religions, of course. So from the little one till the big differences, for example. But more, I always remember this, more really I'll be like Abraham. So my heart, it will be opened, and I stay off judgment, first of all, and I try to connect and to understand the beauty that the other has to give back to me. As part of myself, the other is part of myself. It's not, when God asks to Cain, where is your brother? And he says, am I the keeper of my brother? Yeah. The answer is yes. We are the custodians of one another. So you can exercise this everywhere. And everywhere has to be, according to me, now I'm using a little bit a strong sentence, has to be exercised, but because the reality is it's there. Let's think about our kids, schools, everybody's there, the markets, streets, everywhere, till the huge big arguments like COP28, environment, so Laudato Si, and everything.
But may I just say, to just add some complexity to also that you're speaking about the opening. I mean, the emphasis has been opening to the other, right? But your book is really about difference, right? Your book is about difference and borders and the importance of borders. How do we deal with that? I mean, I'm just really going to repeat your question, saying that with basically as a daily practice, right? To respect the borders, respect the different. I won't say we are all different. We play different roles. We are positioned differently, right?
Absolutely.
Is that how do we? Is it really an imperative to think about your particular place, right? You know, the particular church and the synagogue and the church and the everyone has a place, and it's not all the same. And we're not all in the same space or play the same roles all the time. Right. Absolutely. And I think this is one of the ways that I think about is that, you know, in fact, difference is important to respect. You mean at the same time, it is important to be open, right? But it's also I just wanted to see. No. You want to say something about that?
No, I agree. But when I say open, I mean exactly this. So to keep differences, otherwise, to keep differences, that one strengthens us. Otherwise, we don't have the polyhedron. Otherwise, we don't have harmony. Otherwise, we cannot discover the deeper part of yourself. So we need the other. We need the other.
The difference.
And we need the difference of the other. We need roles, absolutely. Of course, the question is, how do we exercise roles? Because if we are oppressive, we fell into the Babel Tower, to use the examples that I try to share with you. Meaning we want to oppress, and so at the end of the day, we are not respecting the differences. We are trying to dominate, So it depends on how, the style, how we live the differences, actually. So it brings moral aspects in the realm of theology of difference.
So there's one way of thinking about it. Sorry that I'm stepping in and usurping the time, but there's a logic of the substitute also, that we can't all be doing everything at all times.
Absolutely.
That, that other people do it for us, even if we want to do it. There's a substitute, and there's an ethical logic of the substitute, right? And that other people are doing it, in fact, for me, and I can be doing it for other people. So I'll stop it here, because I think there was a question there that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
About culture. So the question was about just handling the culture of dialogue. In addition to context, where some spaces may be more open to difference because of the boundaries and the borders, and other spaces may be less open.
Correct.
And then there's also this element of power as well that hasn't really been talked about. But I was just wondering your thoughts about that, because that's pretty much where people have to try to navigate in these spaces where there is a lot of difference, and they're bringing themselves as they are. And then sometimes there's the unintentional stepping on toes and stepping on boundaries because of these differences. What are your thoughts about navigating that in terms of theology?
No, thank you. Very, very important. Interception also is very important. We have to be very aware about the position and where we are living. No, I agree with you. Very honestly, I think, and this is what I'm trying to research and to explain in the book, that there are definitely certain situations where there's not the case. Very simple meaning. Because we cannot force the process. The important thing is that it's a process. So it's something that we can learn. The examples that I traced in the book are 800 years ago and more, a relationship of friendship, and nowadays, Pope Francis and Mahnaz Yousefzadeh, a relationship of friendship as a first step. So mediating by a relationship, we can really learn how to express our differences and accept it. But I think the first step is passed through that relationship, human relationship of friendship, at least. Sometimes simply it's not possible. It's a pity, yes. It's something desirable, yes. It's something that maybe we, as a position of our art, because our religions demand us, and we truly believe that is the beauty that God gives us as a treasure, we will try our best. But at a certain point, I would say, and I experienced this, the impotence, I don't know if in English works, but impotence, we have to accept that we cannot manage simply. So if the other close the door, the only thing that I can do is to stay there and pray. Absolutely, 100%. But we have to be very aware of that, because otherwise it will be a big smash, big incident, and we're going to suffer both. And we're going to face consequences. So I agree with you 100%. It's something huge. I think we have to accept that, sometimes simply it's not possible. But still, for us, it remains.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
I want to say thank you for your answer, because this just reflects and shows there are no easy answers to complex human problems, right? And it does create a certain disposition. You have to show up a certain way to difference and be open to it without any type of hidden agenda to be able to embrace other folks that may be different from you. So I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say that my mother is a Roman Catholic. My father is a Muslim. And I was a very active member of the Jewish community back home. And I'm so happy for the Abrahamic family house. I feel peace. Seriously, I do.
Why? just say, if it's like, why?
Because of these two questions that were asked, and because of the differences. Now, both my parents are religious people. They practice their religion. So just imagine living in an environment where you have two different religions.
Yes.
Both are being respected. We believe in both. At the end of the day, we believe in the same creator. How are you going to pray? How are you going to fast? How are you going to practice your religion is your own relationship with the creator.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Jew? That's your own relationship with the creator.
Mm.
And at the end, just like Father Stefano said, it's the relationship. We're all humans. If you'll accept me, I'll accept you. I accept you without even thinking who you are. For me, you're a human being, all of you. You're a female, you're a male, you're with hair, you're without hair. It's, at the end, it's a human. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Question? Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, not so much a question, but I wanted to know if you would agree with this concept of finding commonalities within the differences. Things she talked about, like you can't build a friendship without finding something in common with that. So if you open the gates to that, to be open to that, you have to have something. So when you talked about the story of the sheikh and the Christian coming in and he got back to his place in a safe way, how did they build that friendship? What was it based on? It definitely wasn't based off of the differences. They had to find something in common in order for them to agree on, in order to carry that relationship. So.
Thank you for this, because it gives me the opportunity to clarify a little bit, because it could be tricky. Definitely, we have things in common all the time, definitely. And the interreligious dialogue process and history of the interreligious dialogue underlined a lot, I put a lot of effort in order to identify commonalities and a shared ground. Absolutely. It's there. I'm not denying. It's beautiful. So absolutely. My position is simply that we cannot just stop there. Now the time has come, a mature time to say, yes, we have this and this and this and blah, 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 long list. Yes. But something huge also, because some huge thing related to religion, some pillars of our religion are different. So we have to be able to choose, to call one another brothers and sisters and say, okay, we are different, but you know what? I love you. I love you like you are. Why? Because for me, God gives me these differences, and this is an enriching process. So that's why I'm trying to share with this book that definitely we are communalities, and it's always good to bring them on the table. But I think now the time is mature to share also this.
The time mature is also in the. I would just want to bring attention to the back cover is a little says that we will not survive. According to we will not survive. The humanity's survival, it says, that depends on our ability to accept difference. Right? I mean, this is also a little bit more than, so it's not, we would like to, but also is it possible? Do we even have a choice? That at least what I'm trying to say, what we have in common is the interest in continuing life and survival also.
Yeah, also. To address the nowadays huge challenges.
Depend on each other. And so I actually...
No, also but St. Francis of Assisi, while he was meeting with the Sultan, Al-Malik Al-Kamel, definitely, and in my book, I trace also this, I speak about this. For example, a lot of communalities where the prayer, the daily prayer in one way, the names of God, the calling at the prayer, the importance of pilgrimage also, definitely. So all the Arkan al-Islam, as we can call, so the pillars of Islam, they resonated because in this dialogue, in different important tradition of the Christianity at that time, that's still till today, of course. So in the book, I try to also demonstrate and trace this. You see, definitely, St. Francis and Brother Illuminato, they experience the beauty of the calling at the prayer. And you know what they did? Once they went back to Italy, they start to use the bell. But not because the bell was not there before. It was there before because ancient monks, always they used the bell. But it was a little bit lost, the tradition. So he brought it back thanks to the refreshment of the difference of the other. That's amazing. So it was there, but...
Amazing.
It's amazing,
because
no?
He could hear it in a different way now. He could hear it stronger.
So it's very, Oh, I just placed, because maybe I think time is there. Yes. May I conclude with this quotation?
100%.
Okay.
Please.
They're not going to invite me anymore, I'm telling you.
What is even more beautiful is that after the pause, there will be a workshop, and there will be an opportunity to really get together and really become familiar and with the director of education and dialogue at Abrahamic Family House and Father Stefano. You can get together, and whoever says we can. But I will let you finish.
No, it's simply because this quotation, Pope Francis, at the second anniversary of the Human Fraternity Day, he said, among different things, also this thing, and I think it's a good sum up also to, to bring together different questions that emerge. So now is the fitting time to journey together. So this is a good day to extend a hand to celebrate our unity in difference. Unity, not uniformity. Unity in difference, in order to say to the communities and societies in which we live that the time of fraternity has arrived. Not all the same, but as brothers and sisters, each with his or her own personality, his or her uniqueness. I think it's a beautiful map, this one.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Father Stefano.
Thank you for the question.
It's really an honor and a pleasure to have this chance to sit with you and ask questions, really. Thank you very much. And there will be a pause for about half an hour now. And then for those of you who can't stay and you would like to stay, please stay for a workshop and for more, just continue the conversations with Father Stefano and with Zania. And thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahnaz. Thank you, Father Stefano. We want to keep promises, and already we somehow didn't keep the promise. But I suppose because I saw you sitting here and engaged, it's okay. But we will have the break for those of you who want to go to pray or to have a coffee or to walk around. The workshop will not be so much talking like this. We will use different activities, a little bit more our bodies and our other kind of expression and communication. So for those of you, and I will really appreciate if you can tell me how many you will stay so we can manage the time and the setting, because we need to change a little bit the setting. So we give you, let's say that at 7:30, for those of you who have time to stay, and we will take about 45 minutes to an hour to experience how all these things we have in our mind, can we really maybe make in practice, put in practice, and see how this goes. So have your break, have your coffee, and just give me an information. I say I go, so I arrange the room. Okay, so this place 7:30. Oh, thank you. These were some of the elements we explored in the workshop today using games. Are games just for having fun, or they will help us also to learn and discover new things about ourselves? In the Abrahamic Family House, we try to create opportunities for people to learn and to transform their experience in knowledge through exchange.
I love the workshop. It really slowed down and helped us absorb some of the things that we heard about Father Luca's book. So yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity, and I hope to come for more.
This evening, in this amazing Fireside chat, along with Professor Mahnaz, we embodied one important part of the Human Fraternity document that says تبني ثقافة حوار دربا. That means to adopt the culture of dialogue as a path.